Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, quick question. When you think about why you exercise, like your actual reason, not the one you tell yourself, is it for your brain?
I'd wager most people say weight, energy, maybe cardiovascular health. The brain doesn't usually make the list.
Right? And here's the thing, though. There's a body of research now that suggests exercise might be one of the most powerful interventions we have for mental health, not as a side effect, as the primary mechanism.
A 2023 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, covering 97 reviews and over 128,000 participants, found that physical activity was significantly more effective at reducing symptoms of depression and anxiety than standard care alone. That's not a small finding.
That stopped me in my tracks when I read it. So today we're going deep on the brain-exercise connection, the stuff most people genuinely don't know about.
And specifically, what types, what doses, and what it means for real life. Not a gym advertisement, an actual conversation.
So let's start at the beginning. When we say exercise benefits your brain, what are we actually talking about? Because I think most people picture endorphins and call it a day.
Right, and endorphins are real, but they're almost the least interesting part of the story. The more compelling mechanism is BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Okay, say that again for the people in the back.
Brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Neuroscientist John Ratey at Harvard literally called it miracle grow for the brain in his book Spark. It's a protein that promotes the growth and maintenance of neurons.
So we're talking about actually building brain capacity, not just mood, not just feeling good for an hour.
Structural change. Exercise, particularly aerobic exercise, triggers BDNF release, and that has been linked to improved memory, learning, and protection against cognitive decline.
That is not what the treadmill marketing ever told me.
No, it tends to feature people with excellent bone structure looking very satisfied.
Okay, so where does the depression and anxiety piece fit in? Because that's the one that really hit me.
So there are several pathways. BDNF plays a role in hippocampal neurogenesis. The hippocampus is the memory and emotional regulation center, and it often shrinks in people with chronic depression.
Wait, exercise can actually reverse that shrinkage?
Studies suggest it can stimulate new neuron growth there, yes. A well-cited study from Kirk Erickson at the University of Pittsburgh showed that older adults who walked regularly for a year increased hippocampal volume by about 2%.
2% sounds small, but in brain terms?
In brain terms, that's significant. It reversed age-related decline by roughly 1 to 2 years.
Here's the thing, though. When I was going through that burnout period I mentioned before, I kept thinking I was too tired to move, and moving was probably the one thing that might have actually helped.
That's one of the cruelest ironies. The neurobiology of depression reduces motivation precisely when movement would most help. There's even a clinical term, anhedonia, the loss of pleasure in activities. And exercise is actually one of the interventions that can restore dopamine receptor sensitivity.
So it's not just go for a jog and feel better, it's addressing the actual chemical deficit.
That's the more accurate framing, yes.
Okay, y'all. If this is resonating with you, please take a second and hit like and subscribe. We do this every week, and having you along for the conversation genuinely means everything to us.
Right, and let's get practical because I think people want to know. Does it have to be intense? Is a walk enough?
Because I will tell you, I have the abandoned strength training receipts to prove that intensity is not always my friend.
The research is actually encouraging on this. Even moderate intensity aerobic activity, a brisk walk, cycling at a comfortable pace, shows measurable effects on mood and anxiety. A study from the American Psychological Association found that even a 10-minute walk produced mood benefits comparable to a 45-minute workout.
That is the most hopeful thing I've heard this week.
The dose-response relationship is real, though. More structured, consistent activity does produce stronger and more durable effects, but the entry point is genuinely low.
So someone caring for aging parents, managing kids, working full-time, 10 minutes is not nothing?
10 minutes is a legitimate starting point, not a consolation prize.
Okay, but here's where I'm going to push back slightly. Because I've also seen the research suggesting too much exercise can actually spike cortisol and increase anxiety. So is there a ceiling?
Brilliant point, and yes, the inverted U-curve is real. Overtraining syndrome is documented, and excessive exercise without recovery can elevate cortisol chronically, disrupt sleep, and worsen mood. This is well established in sports science.
So for our listeners who are type A overachievers, more is not automatically better.
Consistency and recovery matter more than volume. The American College of Sports Medicine recommends 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity per week as a general target, but even half of that has shown mental health benefits in studies.
What about strength training? Because I keep abandoning it. But is there a mental health case for it specifically?
Growing evidence, yes. A meta-analysis in JAMA Psychiatry in 2018 found resistance training significantly reduced depressive symptoms across 33 clinical trials. The mechanisms are somewhat different. Less BDNF, more regulation of inflammatory markers, and self-efficacy.
Self-efficacy meaning you feel competent, you feel capable?
Exactly. You lifted something heavy. That translates psychologically. It's not trivial.
Okay, that actually makes me want to try again, for the 5th time.
The research does support shorter sessions being more adherent. 2 days per week, 20 to 30 minutes. That's the entry point in most positive trials.
So maybe I stop building the perfect plan and start with Tuesday and Thursday 20 minutes.
That would be evidence-based, yes.
Let's talk about the age dimension here, because I know a big part of our audience is thinking about cognitive decline. What's the brain protection story for people in their 50s, 60s, and beyond?
This is where the evidence is frankly striking. The Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation estimates that regular physical exercise may reduce the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease by up to 50%.
50%.
It's not a guarantee, and genetics and other factors matter enormously, but no drug currently matches that figure.
And for people who already feel like their memory is slipping a bit?
The research from Rush University's Memory and Aging Project found that even light to moderate physical activity was associated with better cognitive function and slower decline in older adults, regardless of when they started.
So it's never too late to start. That's not just a bumper sticker.
That is the actual research finding. The brain responds to movement at every age.
Here's the thing, though. I want to acknowledge that for some people in our audience, mobility is a genuine barrier. Chronic pain, joint issues, limited access.
Absolutely fair. And the research does include chair-based exercise, water aerobics, resistance bands. The mechanisms are similar. The key variable appears to be elevating heart rate sufficiently and creating muscular demand. The form is secondary.
That is so important to say, because I think some people opt out entirely because they can't do what they used to do.
Which is the worst outcome. Some movement at any intensity level consistently outperforms none.
Okay, let's land this plane. Practically speaking, what does someone do Monday morning?
Pick one thing. A 10-minute walk after breakfast, 2 sets of bodyweight squats before your shower. Something that is genuinely sustainable, not aspirational.
And do it before you have time to talk yourself out of it. That's my personal addition to the science.
That's actually supported by implementation intention research from Peter Gollwitzer at NYU. Deciding when and where in advance dramatically increases follow-through.
Of course it is. Of course, David found a study that validates don't overthink it.
I do my best.
Y'all, if you take one thing from today, let it be this. Exercise is not just about what you see in the mirror. It is building your brain, protecting your future self, and regulating your mood in ways that genuinely matter. And the bar to start is lower than almost anyone tells you.
Right. 10 minutes twice a week for strength. Consistency over heroics. The research is clear, and it is on your side.
We'll link some of the studies we mentioned. The Erickson Hippocampus research, the British Journal of Sports Medicine meta-analysis, the JAMA Psychiatry Resistance Training Review, in our show notes so you can dig in yourself.
And if you found this useful, do share it with someone who needs a science-backed reason to take a walk today.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. We are rooting for you, always.
Take the walk. That's really all there is to it.
This show is part of the VoxCrea.ai system. If you want a show like this for your organization, without building it yourself,
go to voxcrea.ai and request a sample episode.